Hello everyone. So the webinar will start right now. Today, BBGV is it's really honored to host a webinar with FPT Software on the long-term solutions for businesses during and post-COVID, with the application of contact center service and automation technologies. So join with me today is Mr. Lê Hoàng Vũ, FPT Software RPA, which is Robotic Process Automation Service Director, and Mr. Phạm Huỳnh Thế Hùng, FPT Software Contact Center Service Director. They will give the presentation starting from now, so please join with us and hope you enjoy the whole webinar today.
Thank you. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Vincent. I've been working in the ITO industry for more than 13 years. As you all know, the COVID-19 has a great impact, not only in Vietnam, but also global wide. I don't want to downgrade your mood again by repeating all the statistic reports. You all know how critical it is already. So right now, a lot of businesses, with the COVID-19, the separation between the businesses becomes very clear. So you either not transforming yourself and fall apart from the race, or you have to do some transformation to your businesses. So today the topic is about RPA and call center. But before we go into that, we hope that we can give you a bigger picture of what is the transformation landscape as well. Okay. Okay, let's quickly skip through this. Okay, so for COVID-19, if you are the businesses that you want to transform yourself to survive and to grow after the business is back, there are a lot of questions that are popping up in your mind, like how can I keep the customers? How can I keep servicing the customer? Consider that only employees like is having challenges going to work. How can they still work remotely but can still provide the same or even better services to the customers? So those are the questions that you have to answer, right? So let's start at the transformation landscape. So now you already have a like an overview of the transformation. You can do something with the business process re-engineering. You can apply technology, or you can do something with the human. Oops. And then for your activities, categorize them under interfacing or internal processing or insights. My suggestion is that for interfacing, don't try to put so much machines into it. You can actually have machines in the back to support your employees, but then for the actual interfacing job, especially with your customers, try to retain human because it's how we prefer to be interactive. We don't want to talk with the machines, right? For internal processing, yes, you can apply a lot of technologies there in the back office to do all the jobs, the boring jobs that your employees don't want to do. And then for the insight, apply the technology to help you to get better data and to visualize all the data in a way that can help you to plan your strategy. Okay, so now what you can do is that you can register all your pain points here by yourself after the meeting, and then you can brainstorm to see how you can solve those, or if you want, you can get back to BBGV and FPT Software as well, so that we can give you certain level of consultancy. Okay, but before that, we're gonna walk through the presentation. So this is next gonna be the future contact center, which is presented by Mr. Hong Pham. Thank you very much.
So many thanks, and Vũ, aka our Vincent, the one and only Vincent, to provide a very informative introductions about the landscape that we base on to provide some of our ideas on how your business as a decision maker can make incisive decisions to cope with the current situations of COVID-19, or not only during the pandemic, but also after that. Because again, we all know that there's a challenge and opportunities, so that you can see that when people are presenting with the things that they are not familiar with before, there's always uncertainties, or even can lead to frustrations if you guys over there doesn't understand like why we actually stop what we are speaking, and then working in the backstage without much informing to you. So during this time crisis, fear, uncertainty, and frustrations, it actually is perfect combinations that making all of your business decisions and your plans outdated. And trust, now the customer or your end users, they would need some people or some human agents actually to interact with, because again, this is an urgent and complex issues, and many research, especially though come from Accenture or Appreciate, already confirmed that more than 50% of customer actually prefer call support at an initial channel for their urgent issue, and almost 60% of customers actually prefer call support because they would want the opportunity to interact with the human agents, to asking questions, receive, respond right away, or even negotiate and arguing or reasoning with the human agents in the contact centers. So this is a challenge, but also opportunity for an executive of a contact center service to rethink or reimagine how he or she or the contact center service would deliver a compassionate and caring quality to its customer, while also keep the cost as minimized, as optimized as possible. So based on, yep, oops, this I just messed up the technology again. I didn't take. So based on our experience in our long-term consultation experience, and also our successful story, implement the service of contact center for customer, we conclude that there actually is three important features that's gonna differentiate the contact center service from now on, which I'm summarized here. That is the contact center service managers have now to cope with an untraditional workforce model. There's no more the mass recruitment agents for contact center anymore. And the second is that he or she has to equip the agents with a fully integration data platform, and even smart automations with virtual agents. So let's go to the very first point of untraditional workforce model. And like Mr. Vincent has said before, the time of turbulence and business challenge like this is actually a perfect time for you to implement automations, machine learning, all of the things that make your service, especially the contact center, less dependent on human labor. In this case, is the manual labor effort. So your agent is actually required to have like specialized customer service. So skill sets now is focused on problem solver, compassion, empathy, relationship oriented agents. And of course, now you don't have to recruit more agents, but you need to recruit and retain more high skill agents, and that would impact your bottom line. So in order to stay competitive in the contact center service, but also in your business, it's important that you have a flexible for scaling of your workforce model. So that's why recently there are many things that say like on-demand workforce model. But for this topic, let's just simply say that if you are looking for a provider of the contact center service, look for the one that provide you with the ability or the options to scale your agents, ramp up or ramp down easily. So you are not only looking for like a headcount based pricing model, but also looking for a time block or even output based pricing model, because that's gonna give you a significant advantage in keeping your bottom line for labor cost, but also give you more investment on retaining or upskill your agents. The second point of contact center is now not only that you need to have agents with high skill, you also need to equip them with fully integrated data platform, which I call smart integrations. Why difference from before? Because in the past, the communications, which is the way the end user or the customer contact to your customer help desk or even the contact center or call center, is a very limited channel, and first the customer data is limited, fragmented, no cross channel. But now they actually has multiple ways to contact your contact center or your customer service, even through the third party ecosystem or data management platform like third party web. So actually now the current and the future communications will be less in the channel choice for the customer, but actually is more in the ease of use and consistent experience, which you can hurt a lot during this time, like omni-channel and holistic approach. And so actually we conclude that there is also an opportunity for the business to combine the asynchronous and robotic communications to provide the dynamic customizations of content for the relevant customer in order to improve like how the customer can be connected with your business or your brand, and also try to harness the customer data in every transactions, because now in every contact point of customer to your brand, whether to your website, to your mobile app, or to your friends pay, their own way of part of data from the customer behavior preference that you can harness it, and then make sure that the communications or the service that you provide to them is relevant and difference your brand from the others. In all of the things that is required, actually a data platform that provide a 365 insight for the customer. That's what we call the smart integrations. So a sample of a data platform like this we present here is actually the AK Insight, one of the data platform from FPT Software. This platform we actually allow the business to ultimately collect or harness data, including personal demographic, on-site behavior data, engagement, transactional, and even through the ongoing and history data of the mobile device that the customer is using, and then combine with all of the collections, identify, analytics, activations to provide 365 data for the customer. And this tool is actually API ready, so it can be integrated easily to your current contact center system or your current CRMs. And again, although this one is specifically for the way that AK Insight worked, it actually is a model that we recommend you are looking for any kind of product for customer that provide customer 365 insight that you would like to apply for your contact center service. The last but not least, for a good contact center service, it actually is the smart automations. And just like Mr. Vincent also mentions, when you're talking about automations in contact center or in customer service as a general, there's always an ongoing debate on like how much automations you would like to have in order to save costs versus how much human interactions you want to reserve. Because again, as humans, as a customer, I would love to be interact with another human agents, especially in this turbulent time, or I need to have like, well, answers to my questions fast. So for this, actually, we base on the scale of from in the end of the scale is the transaction base or the low value functions, which can be very easily to argue that it can be quick and easy interaction process or automate for the majority. If you are facing with a situation variable when like the customer might ask a lot of questions, and it also would require human agents to think and respond appropriately, we also recommend that you can reserve the experience of having a human interactions with virtual agents, because again, with all of the advanced technologies in AI, they are we can implement a human-like conversation interaction bot that sometimes it's very even the customer hardly recognize that he or she is talking to a bot. And I also have that demo in next slide. So, but before going to my demo, I just want to highlight that there also a trade-off for transactions or the interactions that are more on relationship oriented, or even it's like a high value opportunity. For example, if this is a service for P2P and you are supposed to serving high profile procurement directors who would love to have like an agent or a human guide that he or she can ask the question anytime that he or she needs. There's a balance between the opportunity cost that you can get from these transactions if you provide human interactions versus you can control it by apply AI automations or technologies. So the focus in here is actually a memorable experience building up, and we conclude that with using the human agent, you can also assist it with the advanced technology. For example, the data things that we just have the data 365 insight platform that I just mentioned, or even with the anomaly detection technologies that help the company or the business to auto detect if there anything's going wrong during the interactions with the customer, which I'm gonna talk in detail in the next slide. So let's move to the very first thing for the virtual agents. And again, I would like to switch my the way I provide information a little bit by showing a demo, so that you might get like more informative experience in what is actually a virtual agents apply in a contact center service case. So this is the demo of for Vietnamese business for a very simple cab booking service, like a customer calling to cab companies to request for for a taxi, and actually the conversations going on by using a bot. So yes, please choose.
Tổng đài taxi G7 xin nghe.
Cho mình đặt một taxi 4 chỗ.
Quý khách muốn xe đón tại số nhà bao nhiêu ở đường nào ạ?
Số 17 đường Duy Tân.
Vâng ạ, mời quý khách chờ xe.
Ok, mình cảm ơn.
Okay, so actually the audio from my side is a little bit small. Well, actually, because I already listened to this demo many times, so it's not a problem to me. But I hope that you can hear and then understand what is going on for the demo. It's actually a very quick and but it represents that when a customer calling into your 24/7 contact center, a bot or a virtual agent can actually respond it and provide a very human-like conversations because it's powered by an AI that have all of the speech synthesis, speech recognitions, and even linguistic like NLP, natural language processing capability. If you would love to hear more about this, then I believe that we would recommend another sections just focus on our technologies for that. For now, let's move on another technologies that we recommend you can also apply in contact center service. In this case, like I mentioned before, the anomaly detections, which is as simple as based from the audio, we apply technologies, machine learning that can auto detect that if that conversations is growing abnormal, like the customer is complaining aggressively, or he like passively but also complaining, or even the background is so noisy. So that should require human agents rather than virtual agents. So all of that, if you are able to apply the technologies and make the experience simplest automatically, then it should make sure that will improve your bottom line and making a significant competitive advantage in your contact center services. So before finish my part for the contact center, let's do summarize. So here's the diagram for a smart contact center that we highly recommend you to looking for if you are going to open your new contact center service or thinking about reorganize your current one. So it's always start with the customer that should be able to contact your contact center system to both the traditional way of the interphone light like messaging or calling, or even through the omni channel. And this contact center system, again, like we recommend, should have the fully integrations with the 365 inside customer data. Should have be able to direct your customer conversations to a virtual agents that smart automations and power by AI. And finally, it should be also have a present of human agents in here, but this human agents is now should focus more on service relationship oriented things, and you should looking for a workforce model that is flexible enough for your service. And that is the concluding of my part. Like I mentioned before, one of the important things that relevance to not only contact center but many part of your service in order to gain significant advantage is the automations or the RPA, which can be explained in detail by by no one but Mr. Vũ Lê, aka Vincent, our RPA director. So back to you, Mr. Vũ. Thank you.
Okay, RPA 101. I believe that you heard the keyword RPA a lot of times, so I'll be very quick to brief you about what is RPA. Okay, so let's start with a few predictions from Gartner. So in 2027 and 2023, 50% of the new RPA scripts will be generated dynamically, which means that right now, in order to write the RPA scripts for the robots to do something, it needs a developer to do it. But this prediction is saying in the next 2 years, then 50% of those scripts will be generated automatically, maybe by an AI RPA robot. Okay, so not even the developer have to write the code for the robots. So you can see in the next 2 years, 50% of those going to be generated automatically. It means that the RPA technology has been advanced so much. So if right now you haven't applied RPA in your company, we are already late in the game. Okay. Then another prediction of Gartner is that by 2024, organizations will lower the operation cost by 30% using hyper automate RPA. So you can imagine that you can save 30% of your cost if you apply RPA. But of course, it takes time to apply RPA. So you cannot just say, hey, I pay like $1 million, $2 million in 6 months, and then I'll be able to save 30% of the cost. That's not gonna work like that. Apply RPA is a long journey, so you have to invest gradually, and then over time it will be aggregated of how much you'll be amazed by how much cost you could save. Okay. Okay, so what is RPA? First of all, it is a software. Many people think, okay, I can see something from Jacob. Please start talking about how you have never used this system or participated in presentation.
Okay, that's my fault. Sorry.
All right. Okay, so let's move on. So many people think like robotic process automation is an actual robot. No, it's just a software running on your machine. Okay. Number two is that it tries to mimic the human behaviors, the human interactions with the existing applications. So whatever your employee is doing today, checking emails or working with the Excel file or interacting with SAP or some other system. So the bot just do the exact same thing, but you have to give the bot some instruction. That's all. Okay. Number three is that it uses the existing infrastructure and existing applications. So when you apply the RPA technology, you don't have to invest for the more infrastructure. It can run right on your employee's machine. Okay. And the last one, it is driven by the business logic and simple rules. So don't think about the bot like a smart assistant. It's not there yet, right? So in order to tell the bot what to do, we need someone to write the script for the bot, so the bot will perform whatever it is written there in the script. Okay, so these are the four things to imagine about the RPA. And by the way, thank you, Jacob Mueller, for your feedback. Okay, we go next. And everyone else, please feel free to put your questions in the box. We can help you to answer. If it's relevant to what I'm talking about, then I'm gonna answer it immediately. Otherwise, I'm gonna wait for the end. Not real advice. Okay. So if you are thinking about applying RPAs, then what are the applications that RPA can help with? Okay. Actually, to apply RPA into your job is endless possibility, right? It just depends on your creativity. But at least I can show you the most common applications so that you know where you can apply it. Okay, number one is data collection. So anything that the human have to do today to collect data from the enterprise system, collect data from the web, collect data from social networks, if you give it a clear rules, then the bot can help you to do all the data collection job, which is very time taking. Okay, especially if you're thinking about building the AI models, you want to collect data from the internet as the input to train your AI models. This is very suitable for the robot to do that job for you. Okay, data extraction. So once you have collected a lot of data, you want to extract certain information from the data that you have. If the data is very well structured, it is digital, then the bot can do it with very easily. But if your data is like an image, then you will need to combine the RPA technology with AI and OCR. OCR that stands for oh, come on, it's on the tip of my tongue. Come on home. What OCR stand for?
Optical character
recognition. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so you can read the images and extract the information from the images. Then data processing, all the jobs related to manipulating the data, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and so on. So whatever complex expression that you can put into the script, then the bot will do it for you. So that's for data processing and transformation. Then data sync. The RPA is also very suitable for syncing data from one system to another system. Either you have a lot of satellite systems, you want to harmonize the data between those, or you have the core system and then the satellite system. You can exchange the data between those systems very easily with RPA. Okay. Then the applications that require 24/7 monitoring. So this is the thing that is very challenging for human, right? But for the bot, it can run 24/7 without any problem. So applications that require those is very suitable for RPA as well. Or the multi-channels notification. So when something happens, you want someone to know about it immediately through multiple channels, like through email, to SMS, through a notification in Skype or whatever. So RPA can also help with this. It can help to detect when a thing happens, and it can help to send notification on multiple channels to relative people. Okay, and the last common application of RPA is to generate the reports, right? So collect data, process data, and then pushing the data to certain report system, or even generating the report, the simple reports right within Excel, for example. Okay, so those are the 7. Like if you look on the internet, you can see that different vendors provide different way of categorizing, but we believe that those are the 7 most comprehensive way of looking at the applications of the RPA bots. Okay, any questions? Please feel free to type in. Okay. My company is currently supported by traditional model of contact center. Oh, it looks like the questions is is not for the right person. Okay, we come back to this question of Luang, and I gonna forward it to Hong later because it's related to call center. Does FPT has special support for the customer as applying RPA contact center? Yes, Mr. Thi Huân, yes, we do. Actually, just leave your information here, and then we can help to consult you with how you can apply RPA and contact center into your organization. Okay, or even if you have very specific questions, if you can give your scenarios, then we can help you to give our consultancy, the quick consultancy immediately in this seminar as well. Okay, let's move next. Where it applies. So earlier I say, like I already told you the applications of it, but in what industry? So I would say in any industry, you will have a lot of things to do with RPA. So here are a few things. This is in finance and account. People use RPA for account closure and opening, account audit and request, and so on. This is for logistics. You can apply RPA for order management to automatically create the order and automatically track where the order is, and then send out the notification to people. This is like in HR, right? Human resource. So you can use RPA to calculate the timesheets or job role change. In case your company has so many systems that have the employee information, then you're gonna have hack that trying to sync up the system, the information in all of the systems. A simple thing is like you just change the job role of an employee, and then maybe you have to replicate that data into 3 or 4 other systems. Okay. This is in IT. People use RPA to automatically reset your password and then send notification to the person who requests for the password reset. This is right in FPT. We actually successfully applied RPA for cost saving. So what we did is at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when all the employees are supposed to go home, then we run a bot to check if all the machines are still power on. So if some machines that are still power on and we find no records that request to leave the machines on, then the bot's gonna automatically turn off the machine. You can see, so it's like the possibility to apply RPA is only depends on your creative, and it can help you in so many areas. And the example I just mentioned is just very small utility, but it works so well. It has helped us to reduce the electronic bill like by maybe 5%. Okay, benefits. Of course, because it's a robot, it's gonna help because it do it faster than human do it. It's gonna help you to increase the productivity, and it has 24/7 compared to 8 hours a day of a human. So it's gonna help you to improve not only the productivity, but the capacity. It means that in the future, if you get more work, you don't have to invest more people. So it helps you to increase the capacity as well. Then increase the quality. Of course, the bot, whatever you give this instruction to it, it's gonna just follow it. You don't have to face the problem with human mistake anymore. It also in terms of compliance. So whatever the bot does, it's gonna be recorded. So it is very clear for the compliance later on when you need to trace back of what happened to a record. Then it's very clear. Compared to a human, you don't know what a human does. Okay, cost saving, of course. You have the bot, then you don't need to hire more people. You just need people to monitor the bots and to coach the bots. Okay, quick start and instant ROI. From our experience, a small process with a few, like maybe less than 100 steps in the process, if you automate it, then it only takes a few weeks, like maybe 4 to 8 weeks to complete. And then you will need 1 or 2 more months in order to realize the return on investment that the bot brings to you, if you can measure it properly. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the kind of the common structure of RPA. So regardless of you go with whatever vendor, you're gonna see that this is how they structure, right? So first of all, you have the business processes. So this is like any employee go into the company, they need to receive, they need to understand the business process in order to do the job, okay? So what we do is we're gonna convert the business processes into an executable RPA process. And we do this by using a studio. Okay, for UiPath, it is called UiPath Studio. For our platform, for example, Acabot, we call it Acabot Studio. So this studio is the tool that you use to write the executable RPA processes based on the business process. Okay, and you need a guy that has certain technology or technical knowledge, right? Could be a developer or even a tech savvy end user, because nowadays the studio has become very user friendly with the drag and drop feature. So you don't have to work with the command line unless this is a very complex coding job. Then you have to pull up the command line. But normally you can just use the studio tool with drag and drop mainly, okay, to build the executable RPA processes. Okay, once you build the processes, you need to install the agent into someone's machine or on a server. Okay, so those bots could be attended or unattended. Attended means that during the time that it runs the jobs, you want your employee to interact with the bot at some point, because the bot, all the process cannot be automated. Okay, so you want some certain of interaction. Then you can install it on your employee's machine, and then at some point it can pop up and ask your employee of what is the decision of the employee here and there, and then it will continue running. So we call it attended bot. Or unattended bot, which means you install it on a server, and it is very suitable for the jobs that could be automated 100%. And it doesn't need human interaction at all. So you're gonna schedule it to run at 8 a.m. in the morning every day, for example. Okay, so you set up the bots and then you assign those RPA processes for the bots. Okay, so you want the bots to run what process, you assign it. Okay, and finally we have the module of a center. So a center is just like the human resource management department. So you have a lot of employees, you need to have a department that manage the employees. So just the same concept. So you have a lot of bots, you have a lot of works for the bots. So you have a center to manage all those bots and manage all those processes. On this center, you can also do the assignment of which process is going to be run by which bot. You can do the scheduling for the bots of when it needs to run, or you can do the all the licenses are also managed on the center as well. Okay, or when the bot runs, does it face any problem? It's gonna be locked, and then you can view the log on the bot center. Okay, any question here so that you can understand? Oh, yeah. Hey, Jacob Miller. Yes. Actually, we don't want to talk about FPT here because you asked. In FPT, we support the development of UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, any common technology today on the market. Plus, also we have the AKA bot, AKA-bot. Type answer here and say. So AKA-bot is our. How can I put the answer, June?
Yeah.
I'll send to all. Okay. Or we also have AK-bot, which is our own platform. Each gonna have this pros and cons. Okay. Right. Thanks. Demo. Okay. So where is Jacob's question?
Actually, so what we are doing is that we just realized that many people might not be aware of the questions that we are trying to address. So back to the questions from Jacob, it actually is asking, does FPT had no, actually
does FPT support UiPath and Automation Anywhere? And our answer was yes, we do support those. We can develop based on those service providers. No, actually, they are the license provider, platform license provider. Okay, can you pull up the demo for me?
Demo
for RPA.
You only sent me one video demo. It's inbound.
You haven't put it in here. That's fine. I think let's save people's time. Okay. We are sorry that we can't show a demo, but basically there's nothing about when you look at the demo of an RPA bot, because what it does is exactly what a human can do. For example, imagine you have to post an invoice onto your SAP system. So what you do is your employee have to look at the invoice, read the information from the invoice, go to SAP, pull up the purchase order, and then pull up the good receipts numbers, and then post the invoice for those good receipts numbers. So that is exactly what a bot gonna do. When you see it on the screen, it also open an Excel file, read from the data from the Excel file, or if it is an image, it's gonna use the OCR to read from the image. Then it's gonna go to SAP, it's gonna pull up the purchase order numbers, it's gonna key in all the information of the invoice, and then it's gonna post. Okay, so it does exactly what a human do, and that is also the strength of the bot. If you are talking about integration between multiple systems, you usually talk about exposing APIs from one system for another so that the other system can call and then pass on the information. But what if the other system is not under your control, like a banking system that only has the UI to interact with? Then the only way to quickly automate that is to use RPA, right? Okay, so I'm sorry, maybe we can send you the demo later if you need, just let us know. But basically it doesn't have anything interesting on it, and just you see a bunch of actions that happens automatically. Okay, now you understand about RPA. Okay, I received another question from Jacob Mueller. Why use RPA for simple tasks versus simple scripts like Python, for example, to see if PCs are still on. Okay, so thank you, Jacob. It's a really good question. Yes, you have a lot of ways to do automations, right? But the benefits of using RPA is that number one is it has a platform that help you to do the automation quicker and more efficient. And number two, you have a single platform to do most of the automation instead of using very scattered technologies here and there. Maybe in Excel you use macro to automate something, or as Jacob Miller mentioned, you use Python to do the check PC and so on and so on, right? You have so many technologies. But if you use RPA, you have a single place of automation, and then you have a better view of management, like you know how many bots you have, how many processes you have. So it's going to be more centralized, more strategic to your organization. So I hope that answers your question, Jacob. Okay, so now let's see how we can sort the okay. All right, oops. Okay, the automation journey. So you will have, those are the very basic 4 stages of the automation journey. And why we call it a journey is because we hope that you're gonna adopt RPA as part of your organization. It's not a one-time project. Okay, so it's going to be a journey at least for 3 to 5 years, and you're going to be amazed by how much it can save you. So the 4 basic phases are pipeline construction, where you collect the ideas of your employees of where you can do the automations, and then you assess the feasibility, whether it is suitable for RPA, and then you also have to calculate the estimated return on investment, right? You will not invest on something that's gonna cost you even more than what human is doing today. And then you can get the buy-in from the stakeholders or your sponsorships. It's very important, because once you can visualize the estimated ROI, you have more tools to convince your sponsors, right? Okay, so that you build up the pipeline. Okay, after you have the pipeline, then just like any traditional software development project, you do the design and you do the development of the bots. And also have to keep in mind that because we cannot automate 100% of a process, we can automate here and there. So don't be shy with that. That's fine. Just break down the entire process into smaller pieces and then try to automate as much as possible. But because we can only automate here and there, you have to draw a picture of what the entire process gonna be look like with the combination of human and the bot, right? You also have to plan for the infrastructure, and then you do the development just like any traditional ITO project. Okay, so after you have done the development, you have deployed onto the production, then I think there are some more questions here. Okay, yeah, I mean, okay, I received another question from Jacob. You can get into a banking system with RPA and override the bank's security. Many bank, I would think it's many bank would, or at least should block. Okay, that's true, Jacob. But for some of the banks, as long as they exposes the UI for the human to interact with, then actually the bots can interact with it too. Some other banks are more strictly, then they might detect that it is a robot, not a human, but some other does not. Yeah. Okay, let's go back. Operations and maintenance. So the points I want to address here that is really important is that education. So when you move your bots from development to actual operation environment, a lot of your employees going to be worried that the bot's going to get their job, right? So you have to ensure that those employees are willing to adapt the technology and adapt the bot, knowing that this technology gonna help them to set them free from doing the repeated and boring jobs, and then give them more time to think about a strategy thing, to do the more creative things. And this is also our suggestion for an organization. Don't think about cutting off the employees. Try to utilize them into higher value chain for your company. Okay. So in the operation and maintenance, you have to maintain a team so that the team can ensure that the box is running well. And if your business process change, then you will need to update the bots. Just like any software that you build today, like you change the business, then you have to change the software. It's the same for the bots. You change the business, you have to do something different, then you need someone to change the bots as well. Okay. Then finally, it's very important, a lot of companies don't do it, is realization and continuous improvement. So many companies do not do the realization of the actual value that the bot gives them, right? They just build a bot and they have a belief that, okay, I already use RPA, it's gonna help me, but they cannot answer the question of how much money they already save, how much FTE they already save, or compared to retaining the current team, like versus paying for the bot in the next 5 years or in the next 3 years, what is the total amount that I'll be able to save? So they cannot answer those questions, or they cannot answer the questions like how much time the bot has actually improved compared to a human doing it. The average SLA for certain services that your customers require. Okay, so at the beginning of doing something, you have to do the estimation, and once you deploy it, you have to actually measure it, and you have to realize and visualize it in very clear reports. Okay, so that's number one, because sometimes you will recognize that maybe you chose the wrong process. So once you do the RPA, what you get is even worse than what you can do with human people, with human resources. Okay, so that's realization, and then continuous improvement, which focus on, it's just not a one-time, right? You do the job, you have to revisit the process to see what others you can improve on that process, and then you have to spread out this culture of automation to the other departments, to your employees, so to your colleagues, so that everyone adopt this technology and everyone is happy to apply it instead of scared of applying it. Yeah, so that's the journey. All right, let me, oops. Next, what's the next then? Okay, so there's some more highlights that I can give you some hints, like when you build the pipeline, these are the priorities that you should focus on. Of course, number one, you focus on the things that is easy to do, but the volume is really high. Like you have 5 or 10 people is working on the same thing, but the process is very simple. It's just a lot of workload. So that is your number one priority, right? Because if you do this, then you can save a lot of people, and but the cost to implement it is cheap because the process is simple. So that's your first choice. Your second choice may be more struggling, because it depends on the strategy of your company. If you're looking for a short-term benefits, then you can focus on the low volume but simple process. So it's a quick win, right? You can deploy very quick, but then the saving is not very impressive. Okay, But if you are looking for more long-term investment, then you can focus on the high volume, but also very complex to automate. Okay, but once you can automate it, then in the long run, it's going to be very beneficial. So it depends on your vision. Then the number 2 and 3 could be swapped. And then of course, number 4, the processes that has really low volume, but the process is very complex, or maybe it requires human intelligence. For example, making a decision whether we're gonna retain an employee or not, or we're gonna invest into this area or not, something like that. Something that actually require human decision, human intelligence is not appropriate for RPA. Okay, so this is how you can prioritize your pipeline. My suggestion is that if you just start doing it, like arm low and shoot high. Okay, so don't focus on the complex process. Focus on the simple processes first, ensure that it works, can show it to your stakeholders and your sponsors, and then starting to get to more complex jobs. Okay. Design development, this is not something very special here. We do the design, we do the development, we do the system integration testing and user acceptance testing, then we deploy. This is our, if you do with any vendors, this is kind of a very good practice of categorizing the bots. So less than 100 steps are small, 100 to 300 steps are medium, 500 steps are large. Anything that is more than 500 steps, we suggest you to break it down into smaller one, because if you try to do something so big, you won't be able to tell if it's gonna be successful or not, or if it's gonna work or not. Sometimes it's too big, and then you jump in and you don't break it down, and then you just build a big mess. Okay. This is the appropriate time on average. So if it's a small, just the implementation time is around 3 to 4 weeks. Medium may take 6 to 8 weeks, and then large maybe 10 to 12 weeks. It depends. And remember that the steps here is the atomic step, which means that every mouse click, every keystroke is considered a step. It's not a business step, because you cannot measure how large it is for a business step, right? But you can measure it in terms of the atomic step, a single keystroke, a single mouse click, and so on. Any questions? Please feel free to put in. For big questions like from Vin, T, Long, I gonna arrange an answer later. Okay, realization and continuous improvement. So these are the kind of jobs that you need to have in your company to realize the value that RPA is bringing to you. Like accuracy improvement, this is the current, this is what your managers expect, and this is the estimated when you apply RPA. Okay, or the processing time improvement. Currently, you can process every transaction is processed in 5 minutes. The expectation is 3 minutes, but the estimated if you apply RPA is less than 2 minutes, for example. So this is the production capacity. The current, okay, so this is wrong. So currently you can process 262,000 transactions per year. You expect to be able to process, say, 500,000 transactions per year, and this is the estimated if you apply RPA into your job, and accordingly this is the cost reduction. Okay, so these are the reports, the kind of reports that realize the value. Okay, you should have the reports to see that within your organization, how many ideas you have created, how many ideas have been implemented, how many ideas are pending, because those ideas are money. Okay, yeah, you can translate the ideas into actual dollars value, and then you can compare between the departments. All right, I received some more. Still questions. Okay, so timeline. My suggestion is that before you actually invest into this, you can have a quick POC, proof of concept, for about 4 weeks. After the POC, you're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to learn if your organization is ready for transformation using RPA. You're going to learn what are the difficulties in terms of infrastructure, because infrastructure play a really important role, because it's related to accessing to this and that systems. It's related to the security. So you have to do a POC to figure out all the infrastructure and IT difficulties. So as well as the governance of the framework as well. So you're going to learn a lot of things by doing a POC. Then after the POC, now you are confident you can begin your journey. You need around 2 weeks to prepare everything. And then you need another 4 weeks to start building the pipeline, okay, with all the ideas that you collect. You do the assessment, you ask for the budget approval, and so on. Okay, so after 4 weeks, maybe you already have a few ideas approved, and then you can start the design and the development. So if you choose a really small one, then it would take you about 4 weeks for the development. So after 4 weeks, you can transition of those bots into operation and maintenance. And then after another 4 weeks or 1 month, then you can do the realization of the RPA value, and you continue of doing it. Okay, so in a total time of about 14 weeks since the journey begins, that you can actually see the value of the first few bots. So after you've done this, then all those 4 work streams gonna run in parallel, and it's gonna be continuously running alongside with your business operation. Any question here? Please feel free to type in. I think I'm close to the end, so I'm going to be able to answer your questions. Okay, why make the investment now? This is a good time. There are 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is RPA is so much the right technology at this point in time, because the initial cost is low, so it's very suitable for short-term to middle-term investment, compared to building an entire application that would take you a long time and a lot of money. With RPA, you can put the money in, immediately see the ROI, and then continue to spread out that practice to the other departments. Okay, it doesn't change much of the business process, so the business processes keep intact. So it doesn't require a lot of change management compared to the traditional ways of doing the software. Okay, it requires minimal investment for the application change or infrastructure. Time to think about it. Also, if your company has something to do with the industry like healthcare, delivery, the public sector services, digital marketing, online trading, so those are the industries that are being stretched so much by the COVID. So the demand on those industries are really high. The employees have a lot of workload, they have a lot of pressure. So if you can deploy RPA, you can help your employees to be released from those stressful period. Okay. Also, why is it the right time? It's a good time to have a good deal with the vendors, because the vendors are also in a difficult time, right? So we help each other. They're gonna maybe propose some very surprising discount for you. Okay. And if you make the investment now, then when the business is back, then you'll be much ahead of the other business that does not invest into the RPA. So that's why we think it's a good time for investment into RPA right now. Okay, some success story. How much time we have? Okay, this company, they do the remittance process automation. Earlier they do it by human. They receive fax, they receive emails, they receive all type of inputs to make the money transfer from one place to another place. So they apply RPA, and so suddenly from an 8.5 service availability, they become 24/7 availability. The effort is reduced by 60%. The processing time is reduced by 80%. So before they have 10 headcounts, now they only need 8 headcounts to do the job. I think there's something wrong here. It's supposed to be 2 employees only. I'm sorry for the mistake. And then the processing time reduced from 10 minutes per transaction to 2 minutes per transaction. It also reduced the error prompt from 0.02% to 0.01%. Maybe the figures here you see is small, but actually it's related to something related to finance, then that already make a big difference. Why there is a 0.01% of error here is because of sometimes the bot still run into an exception. For example, it cannot read from the information that is provided, then it's gonna throw out an exception, and it's gonna get the attention from human to process those. So it still has, actually it's not error, but it's like exceptions that it cannot handle. Okay, for example, in this case study, we do the ticket processing. So every day, your organization gonna have a ticket system where you receive all the service requests, right? And then once someone had to look at those tickets and do something with those tickets. Okay, so we applied this actually for our companies like a few years ago already. So we can reduce 70% of the effort. We reduce 60% of the time to process the tickets. The headcounts reduced from 2% to only 0.2%. The response time reduced from 4 hours to half an hour, and then the error reduced from 3% to only 1%. So this is actually had saved has saved our IT guys a lot. Okay, for this, we actually use Akabot, our own platform, to do the automation. Okay, so just quickly talk about, earlier I mentioned about a lot of vendors are offering very good offer. So it's the same right now. FPT, we are proposing those advantage for our customers. We can help them to assess the idea for free. And then we can even help them to do a small POC for less than 2 weeks so that they can prove it to their sponsorship, okay, to show that this technology can work. If you go with FPT service, then you can also have free license for the development tool. You still need the license for running the bot, but the license for the tool that the developer used to develop, you don't have to pay for that. And also we have a 30% discount. But anyway, this is just sharing for you so that you know we have, but for the purpose of this meeting, we cannot give you the consultants for free if you just leave your information, and we can help you with that. Okay, thank you very much. Let me go back to the questions. Only 14 people left. Okay, from Vin. I'm from a small business in Ho Chi Minh. We are using traditional working model with human effort. How about RBA? Can help my company improve the working model in delivery new product to customers. Hello, Vin. I hope you're still here. I'm not sure because the question has been posted like an hour ago. This is a very generic question, right? It's gonna be better if you have more specific questions. But to answer your question, so if you are talking about delivery in less time, then it is also an area that you can apply RPA. You can apply RPA to shorten the processing time. Hence, you can release your product in a much less time for your customer. So those are the key advantage of RPA. Improved processing time, right? Number 2 is improve the accuracy. Number 3 is improve the capacity. And then number 4 is the cost saving. Okay, so yes, you can apply RPA here and there. I'm not sure because the question is very generic, but it can help you to reduce the processing time, increase the customer satisfaction by getting the product much quicker. All right, some question from Jacobs. We already answered. Okay, there's one question from Luang Gao. My company is currently supported by traditional model of contact center. How fast and how benefit to transfer to the virtual agent contact center with technologies, virtual agent and a normal detection seem impressive. Okay, thank you. So Hong, you might want to.
For the questions is let me repeat that. So line questions is I think apply to many business because many of the contact center now is mostly also supported by traditional model. So her question is how fast and how benefit to transfer to virtual contact center with technologies and virtual agents and anomaly detections. So again, this is a very general question. So I would like to provide some specific answers to hopefully that would make you more seeing the clear pictures on how even the technologies like AI or anomaly detections can also apply to small and medium business. First of all, because now many AI actually is the cloud-based or open AI. For example, the FPT AI platform that I mentioned before, we can actually provide the chatbot or the voice bot for you in very quick time scale. Can be from 1 week to 2 weeks. For the complex scenario, it can be less than a month. So for one of the case that we provide for consumer loan business, consumer finance, so we provide a voice bot that automatically call the users and able to verify or to reconfirm their intentions to making the loan. And within just 1 month, it actually the bot actually making like 300,000 automatic calls. In a big time, it can make like 15,000 automatic calls per hours and reduce the effort of like 500 agents. So there are clear benefits here, and the returns on the investments can be seen, or the time to value is very fast. So I do believe that there's which the pricing model that allow you to be charging based on agents or bot providing, or based on how much transactions that processing our service or any other service on the market that provides flexible cloud-based model for AIs and anomaly detections can always benefit your business, whether you are a small or medium company. Thank you. Hope that my answers. address your concerns. Back to Mr. Vincent.
Okay. So question from Mr. Thi Hun. Does FPT has special support for customers applying RPA contact center service? Yes. Okay, let me read out loud the question. Does FPT has special support for the customer as applying RPA and contact center services? Yeah. Earlier I just showed you some benefits that we offer for our customer today. So you already see it. You're gonna also receive the slide after the presentation as well. So yes. Okay. Question from Jacob. We already answered. Again, I want to remind the benefit of using RPA is that it's a one single platform. It gives you very well insights. You may be experiencing. Okay. Hello. Okay. It is a single platform that can help you with most of the automation application instead of having scattered technologies. Okay, that's the biggest, and also it can help you to visualize the values as well. Okay, the Jacob Mueller with the bank system, we already answered. Will you share the PowerPoint after the webinar? Will there be a replay of the webinar? June, I believe that we're gonna maybe we're gonna send the PDF, not the PowerPoint.
Yep.
But yep, there is, and there's gonna be a replay. So can the attendees view the replay again?
Yeah, they sure can.
Okay.
So we would like to close our webinars at this point, and we will send you the follow-up emails afterward, maybe after 1 or 2 days. So please check your email for the playback as well as the PDF files. In case you have any questions, we will also include the email so you can contact FPT or BBGV directly.
Right.
Thank you for joining us today.